We mentioned this earlier in the program, Adam, but this is just less than 10 years old, this rule now, where the races are the same distance for the girls and the boys races. So 4K for all novice runners, 5K for all junior runners, and 6K for all senior runners. In the old system, it was 3K, 4K, 5K for the girls as they moved up in age, and then 5K, 6K, 7K for the boys. And I remember speaking with a number of first year seniors, especially in the boys category, when they made that change. And they said, I'm absolutely fine with racing 6K instead of 7. So I think that will probably be the sentiment out here at Centennial Park today as well, especially given the two goes at that hill that they'll have to contend with.
You don't want to get 7K by throwing in that hill a third time as we are underway in the senior boys race. Always love these starts, just the mass of humanity coming towards you. More than 200 athletes taking part.
So, Adam, we have our defending senior champion from last year, as we mentioned, in the form of Ian McAllister out of London Central. We also have a couple of junior standouts from last year who have moved up to become first-year seniors, and so those include Sol Toller, who won the junior race last year for Glebe Collegiate. And then Graham Tamori was second in that junior race. He's for Eden High School. And then Russell Hines, also out of Glebe Collegiate, rounded out the podium in that junior race last year. All three of those athletes, like I said, first-year seniors this year. And with that kind of talent out of Glebe Collegiate, keep an eye on them to be strong contenders for the team title as well.
And an early lead for Sarang Puthankulangara out of David Suzuki. He is the ROBSA winner. Won that in a time of 2013, and he has opened up some daylight already on this massive chase pack. He's onto the hill for the first time.
This is bold running for him, Adam. Last year he was 98th in his first go at the senior category, so strong running up front by an athlete who barely cracked the top 100 last year, but again, we know a lot can change in a year.
Well, there on the right side of the screen you see Ian McAllister in the purple and yellow of London Central Secondary School. This race playing out early, a little like we saw in the junior girls race, with Voikin going out to an early lead. She never gave back that lead. We'll see what Puthankulangara can do.
Well, Ian McAllister looking to repeat that win from last year, and again, it's unusual that we see a first-year senior take the victory with athletes who are older, but he's continued to develop well. As I mentioned, third last year at the OFSAA track championships in the 3,000 meter. His brother won that race. Heath McAllister took gold. So Ian looking to continue his dominance on the cross country course.
Puthankulangara has been reeled in. He looks to be about running in third or fourth right now. And we have a new leader. And it appears, I believe it's Liam Smith.
I think you're right, Adam.
Regina Mundy. And now Smith is opening up some space on the chase back, but Ian McAllister is lurking. He didn't like that space, and he's going to close some of it on Smith. See quite a few athletes today just duck under some of the low branches on these trees on this corner.
Well, that is one of the benefits to doing some solo running, is that you have a little more room to navigate these turns and, like you said, make sure that you're not getting whacked in the face by a branch. Of course, some of these guys are so tall that that becomes more of an issue as you move up in the age groups here. But this is bold running up front by Liam Smith. Not able to see results for him in last year's OFSAA championships, so just wondering if this is relatively new territory for him. More athletes, you can see they're choosing that grass as their terrain rather than sticking to the pathway. And, you know, that's also smart in terms of energy conservation, because you end up running the shortest distance as you cut those tangents and stay close to the rope on the grass. McAllister looking pretty calm and collected behind, though. He doesn't seem to be too concerned by this gap that's opened up in front of him.
Well, McAllister and Smith raced at the OFSAA championships back on October 26th. It was McAllister winning in a time of 19:32. Smith was third, but he was more than a minute back at 20:35. So Smith and McAllister familiar with each other. But some very nice running here from Smith. So right now it's the OFSAA athletes 1 and 2. In a situation like this, Kate, where Liam Smith finished third at the OFSAA championships, but he's got the man right behind him who finished first and beat him by over a minute. Is there some fear, some adrenaline pumping through Smith right now, would you imagine?
Well, I can't help but wonder if he thinks that he doesn't have much to lose. He knows he's been beaten handily very recently by the tall figure of McAllister, who is now retaking the lead, and maybe just thought, you know, what do I have to lose by taking it out hard, give myself a chance and see if I can put on enough distance between myself and the guy who's, you know, routinely run faster than me. But he hasn't fallen off the pack. I mean, he's just sort of settled back in with that quartet up front. So it leads me to believe that was sort of just a bit of a test, a bit of a check. I'm going to try this tactic for the first kilometer or so. I know I can settle back in with the, you know, the energy of the pack behind me if I need to, and that's exactly what he's done. But I also think that's why McAllister just stayed so calm and collected and allowed that gap to form early on.
You know, we've seen two athletes open up leads on the pack. We saw Puthan Kulengera do it pretty quickly out of the blocks, and then we saw Liam Smith do it, but now it is a group of 4 in the lead pack. Ian McAllister at the head of it right now. Smith still in there. And Travis Gaffney as well. The IASA senior boys champion earlier this year and a 4th place finisher in the senior race last year. Another athlete up in that lead pack, David Jiang from Upper Canada College.
Well, returning this year from last year's senior race, Adam, we have McAllister, of course, who was the winner, and then Parker Levac of Smith Falls was the bronze medalist last year. Our silver medalist has graduated and is not returning. But that means that Travis Gaffney, who's doing a good job of hanging in tough and in fact has now moved to the lead. He was 4th last year, so he is one of the top 3 returners. And that's a big move. That's bold by him up front, just along that flat stretch along the back of this course here before they hit the hill for the second time.
Well, all of these athletes have to be familiar with what Ian McAllister can bring to the table. It almost seems like they're each taking a challenge to see if, okay, let's see if you can go with me. And so far, McAllister has answered all of those challenges. And he continues to stick right on the shoulder here of Gaffney. And they've opened up a little space on Jiang and Smith. But not an insurmountable amount of space, as those two are still in the mix. And it's McAllister now back in front. Gaffney in second, Jiang third, and Smith running in fourth. Now there was a move there, and that came courtesy of Saul Taylor, last year's junior champion. And now at the front, Ian McAllister is taking his turn putting space on the field.
As we mentioned, McAllister, very strong over the cross-country course, a great track runner as well in that OFSAA 3,000 meter in the spring where he was able to claim the bronze medal. Gaffney was 9th in that race. So again, we're seeing some of these athletes just testing Ian McAllister a little bit, trying to see if he'll go with them, if they throw in a surge, if he'll cover that move. But he's really running his own race, and I've got to commend him for that. That shows a lot of confidence. He knows what he's capable of. He knows he's in his last year. As you mentioned, this is the last time so many of these athletes are going to get to wear their school kit and try to put themselves on the podium at OFSAA cross country, and that's obviously what Ian's trying to do here.
Well, McAllister has passed all the tests so far his competitors have thrown at him. Now he's testing them as he has opened up a healthy lead here, as he's on the downhill portion of this course right now. And he is the only runner in the frame to the right side of the screen.
This is a good spot to be in if he's feeling strong and wants to start opening things up. Again, you can't even see anyone else in picture behind him. And this is the point where he'll have just about 2 kilometers left to run. He's got the hill done twice, and I think maybe that's why we're seeing that huge increase in pace here. He knows that the hardest part is over, at least in terms of the punishment of that ski hill. So a little glance over his shoulder, but he looks really strong right now, continuing to extend that stride. And he is just powering away with this thing, Adam. Back in that pack, Adam, as we mentioned, we saw him in picture not long ago, is David Jiang, the Upper Canada College athlete. And although I think, again, McAllister's opened up enough of a lead that he won't be likely caught at this point, Jiang is the OFSAA cross-country junior boys champion from back in 2021. So doing a good job to keep himself in the conversation in that chase pack, and would be likely to see him come away with a medal in his final year of cross-country running for OFSAA as well.
McAllister putting his stamp on this race right now. Seen a couple of athletes take significant leads before him. Puthan Kulengera took a healthy lead pretty much right out of the gates. We saw Liam Smith make a challenge, but Ian McAllister has countered all of those, and he has thrown down the gauntlet to the rest of this field. If anyone's going to challenge him, it's going to take a big effort. It's going to have to start now.
Well, again, I think this was a perfectly calculated race for him to use the downhill from that second time up the ski hill and just keep that rolling at the bottom. I'm sure that was calculated, it was planned. He knew what he needed to do coming into this race. He knew he wanted to defend. Again, it's not often that we see OFSAA cross-country defending champions come back and retake the crown, but he has clearly decided that that's exactly what he wanted to do, and we're still seeing just behind him in terms of top of screen. Every once in a while you'll see him come into the picture. That's Gaffney, looks like maintaining his second place position. And this is the first time, Adam, that I think we're seeing the effort starting to build on the face and in the body of McAllister. But he's been so wise to put in all this work over the last 1,500 meters or so. And unless he completely falls apart, I don't think he's going to get caught. This is extraordinary running from our senior defending champion.
He's answered every challenge so far. Now the finish line not too far off for Ian McAllister. Running for London Central. And there is Gaffney in second place, looking to improve upon his fourth place finish in the senior race a year ago, and looking to be in good position to do that. But here is Ian McAllister. A healthy lead into the final stretch. Well, Gaffney has picked up a little bit of that separation, but it's too little too late. Ian McAllister from London Central, he has a look back. He's gonna make it back-to-back golds in the senior race at the OFSAA Cross Country Championships. And here comes Gaffney, and he's going to take the silver, a nice improvement on his fourth place finish a year ago. And it will be Jiang from Upper Canada College rounding out the podium. It was Michael Schmaltz from Notre Dame in Burlington crossing in fourth. Ram Tenori fifth. Liam Smith takes sixth. Saul Taylor, the junior champion last year, finishes in seventh.
Again, well done by so many of these athletes who are taking to the senior ranks for the first time. As you mentioned, strong finishes there by Saul Taylor, and Graham Tamori were second and third last year in the junior category. Expect to see them move up several places next year, but what a finish by Ian McAllister. 18:25 unofficially for him, and that's a nice answer to last year's finish time of 19:07, which we should say came down to tenths of a second for the win. Ian McAllister, a much more comfortable lead this year.
You see Sarang Uthankulengera, he crosses. I have to wait for his official position, but he took the race out hard early, led for a bit. Liam Smith also took his turn at the front, and he ends up with a 6th place finish. And we wait to see what the team results are.
Well, Adam, of course, we're still awaiting official results and we're still waiting for them to be tabulated, but very impressive right away that Gaffney, who represented St. Mary's, was second, and then his teammate, Jackson Witham, finished 12th. So that's 2 St. Mary's athletes in the top 15. And Glebe Collegiate looking strong as well with a 29th place finish in the form of Russell Hines, joined by Saul Taylor in 7th. And it looks like it is Glebe Collegiate, Adam, who are going to take the team title here in the senior boys category. Total of 193 points for them. So that's courtesy again of Saul Taylor, Russell Hines in 29th, and then our other 2 athletes for that team finishing in 73rd and 84th position. Very strong showing by the team out of Glebe.
And the team from London Central will take 2nd place, led of course by the winner, Ian McAllister. They also get results in 28th place. And clocking that 28th place finish for London Central was Alec Royce. Also, we have the 88th place finisher in Miles Nazarwish. And rounding out their scoring is Kevin Chen, who finished in 95th place. So that gives them a total of 212 points. And our 3rd place team, Llewellyn Park Secondary School, they finish with 275 points, thanks to finishes of 35th, 51st, 83rd, and 106th.
Those medals for our individuals and our teams will be presented by our last 2 studs of the day in terms of former OFSAA competitors. That's Andrew Alexander, who was the OFSAA Senior Boys Champion in 2016, and Matt Hughes, who had a couple of OFSAA cross-country medals to his name, never ended up winning the championships, but of course went on to be a 2-time Olympian, 2-time Commonwealth Games competitor, and has long held the Canadian record in the steeplechase. I said it before, but OFSAA really sets the stage for so many athletes to go on and have really exciting collegiate and post-collegiate careers, and especially in the senior category. Many of these runners will go on to compete in the U Sports and NCAA championships over the coming years. And what a great send-off for them.
This is Rylan Grease from Temiskaming District Secondary School. Here comes a late charge, though. A late charge from Maxime Frost from Ridgeview Collegiate Institute. Another shot at the Temiskaming name. I didn't get it off cleanly the first time. That is Ethan Sebastian Pille from St. Thomas Aquinas. This is Adley Cusick, also from St. Thomas Aquinas.
It's a big one. It's a little big. We might have to cut it down the middle, put it in 2 rows. No, they held it across the thing. Yeah. Dude, how much did you win by? I don't know, like 10, 15 seconds.
This is Lachlan Sharp, and he is called in by Oliver Avery, both members of the Twin Lakes team. Jonathan Liu from W.L. Mackenzie Collegiate Institute.
Alec, what were you last year? 60 something. Yeah, that's nice.
This is Liam McBean from Kirkland Lake. Team scores for the senior boys. Glebe Collegiate taking it with 193 points. London Central second, 215. And Neil McNeil, or excuse me, did we have a... Had Llewellyn Park at 275. They've moved Neil McNeil up to 271, so we'll have to just wait and see if perhaps there's been some reshuffling of some of the places. Well, that would be a big reshuffling because initially, as you see there, Neil McNeil was at 348 and they've moved him to 271. But what we do know, Glebe Collegiate first and London Central second.